Hello, I want to welcome you to today's class. In today's class, we'll be looking at a very interesting topic here in Sage 50 Tutorial Class 2022 version. And our topic for today is working with administration functions. My name is Williams Miracle, and I'm teaching this as the lead instructor here in Miramore Consulting. Please pay attention so we flow together. Right now, let me navigate. Okay, so this is what we mean by navigating. So I'm going to log in to my system here. Okay, so welcome to my dashboard. Alright, so for today's class, we'll be looking at administration functions. So moving forward, here in Sage 50, there are various administration functions that you can use or that you can work with. And it's good to mention that these functions are not only for a specific company. And of course, you should know what I mean by that, because it therefore means that you will apply, to all companies that you have created, or to all companies file we definitely have created for different companies. So the administration is very important, and to get started, for you to be able to work with the administration function, right here where we have all the modules, if you look closely, you'll see the last modules by your right, which is called what? Administration. So this is broken down into those functions which you must know how to work with. For example, we have the manage users function, we have the control user access function, we have the change password function, we have the my profile function. If you don't want to call it function, you can call it command. Manage users command, in our Miramore terms. We have different terms that we use. So in today's class, we will be looking at the very first option here, which is called what? The manage users option. So manage users option, generally, if you look at this word here, okay, you'll see it's a combination of two words where we have manage and users. So I'm going to click on it. I'm going to take it bit by bit for you to understand. So for manage, when we say we want to manage, okay, what we mean by that, to control, to be in charge, to organize, and so on and so forth. Okay, but users, on the other hand, by users, we in our own Miramore terms, we normally refer to users that they are discrete identities, authorized to log into your company file which you have already created here, or which you have already hosted, which could be either in the server or cloud editions, or desktop editions of Sage 50 software. Now, they might be individual persons, or they may be groups or of co-workers, that are sharing an account. Now, those users, are granted permissions by someone we call an administrator. And this person is not just an administrator, but this person is an administrator who is consistent with their assigned duties. Okay, so creation and management of users here in Sage is what we'll be looking at as one of the top functions when you come into how you'll be able to work with what? Administration. So it's very important that you follow me up in this class, because when we are looking at users, there are different perspectives we can look at. We can look at users from the accountant perspective. Okay, and you can see right here we have add accountant. So if we are looking at it from the accountant perspective, that brings me to inform you, or to make it clear to you, that here in Sage 50 accounting software, there are three types of users. Okay, Sage is one of the best applications which is different from others, but right here in Sage 50 there are three types of users. We have the first type of user, which we call the owners. Okay, you may not be seeing owners here, okay, but we have the owners, and those are the persons I refer to as what? The administrator. So we have the owners, okay, we have the user, that's the normal user, which is the one I just gave definition of, and we have the accountant. So take note, in Sage 50 there are three types of users. the owner, the normal user, and the accountant. Okay, so if you have created a company, you are the owner of the company. So please take note of that. If you have created a company by any means, just know that you are the owner of that company, and you fall into that category of the first type of users that we have here in Sage, which we call the owners. Okay, so if you have created a company file like I have created this file, I become the owner. Okay, so take note of that. Now, if you have received an invitation to a company, it could be you went on LinkedIn, you saw a job vacant, a job post that was being made that they need an accountant. The accountant should have knowledge of Sage, and you walked into the interview with your knowledge of Sage. You were employed, and upon resumption, they told you that they have invited you through your email into the to use the software. At that point, you should know that you fall into this category of what we call normal user. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that if you have received an invitation in any way to a company accounting software like Sage 50, then know that you are a normal user. Now, if you are an accountant and you have also received an invitation to the company, okay, then you should know that you are the company accountant. So this is very important. So this manage user screen here displays the users that you, as the person who have created this company file, have added into the company. So it means that you add users to your company in this very dashboard where we are. This is where you add users to your to your company. This is where you add users to your company. So it's very important that you understand key information like this, and you can add as many users as you want to add, but it's good for you to note that you may need to upgrade your license in order to add more than the expected user, because normally an accounting software is structured based on number of users. The minimum used to be 3 users. Okay, 3 users. If it's for desktop version, you can see 1 user, 2 user, but when it comes to the cloud versions, it starts from that of 3 users above. So it's very important that if you need like 5 users, then you should know that you need to upgrade your license in order to add additional users. And when a user is added in this dashboard, I call it the manage users dashboard. When you add additional users, they will only have access to the company that you were in when you added them. Let's say we have so many companies files here, not only AOM Limited. So what it means is that if I added users in AOM Limited here, they only have access to AOM Limited. And if I go have another company that I'm managing called Tombow Limited, okay, they won't have access to Tombow Limited because they were not added in Tombow Limited. So that's just what the message I'm just trying to pass across for you to understand. So I was saying that there are different perspectives, like the accountant's perspective. So an accountant might host Sage 50 service for several clients under a particular company file, and and let me say this accountant is a lady. This pretty lady could create several separate users at each client business and assign them access to only the business where they are employed, just like what I said. And in some cases too, a holding company might own 3 businesses and also have them share a single Sage 50 server installation, but access to each business would be restricted to the accounting personnel that is being designated as users for that business. And it also falls down to that of a single company, because a single company might create all its personnel handling sales, all its personnel who are handling purchasing, handling production, handling payroll, all its personnel who are handling payroll, like I said, and also inventory. They could decide to create all those personnels, both their inventory manager, officers, so and so, as users. And definitely that since they are adding them as users, they will be doing what at that point? They will give them access to necessary forms and transactions through their network. So users management here is a very important aspect that you need to take note of. All right, so stay tuned with me as I take you on this journey, so we can be able to explore this, because it's very important that we are able to look into this perfectly. Okay, so also for the owners, which I was saying that they are the administrator. Now the owners who I can call the administrator users, though if you scroll they are not here, because I told you the owner is the person who created this company file. Okay, and if you're seeing this, if you have access to add, it means that you fall into what I call one of the two categories or two kinds of administrator user or owner user. Hope you're with me. So now the administrator user have full access to everything in Sage 50. They can create new users. They have the right to set permissions for existing users, and also to enable new tabs, create and also review all reports. And they also have the right to do one important thing, and I don't want to waste much time asking you what that thing does: to manage or adjust settings, which is very important in every accounting software. So like I said, there are two types of administrator user. You may be in a company and maybe you were not the one who created that company file, but you found out that you have the right to add users. It means you fall into this category or one of these category. Now what are the two type of administrator user we have? We have the default user, who we call the main owner. That's the administrator. Okay, so that very owner is built into the program as at that initial time the person does what? Created that company file. So the administrator user can control the software, okay, and cannot be deleted or renamed. It's just like me now. You're saying you want to delete me from this when I created it. How? It's not possible. So this user's password can, or let's say yes, can be updated, okay, however, from the one assigned at initial setup of the company file. And of course, for those students who have been following my training, they will know that I always emphasize that there are two types of setup: the very first setup and the other setup, which you will do where you try to set up both managing settings and also setting up the application as per the requirement of the business, since we agree right from time that businesses differs based on their operation, based on their line of business, and based on the kind of services they render. So the second type of administrator users is called the optional additional administrator users. So this type of users are the ones that you might find yourself into when you're not the one who created the company file, but you found out that you can actually add others into the application. So these kind of users are created after initial setup by any other administrator user, and these users can be renamed and deleted, unlike the other user, the other main owner. So these users can be renamed, like I said, and deleted, and of course their password can be changed, and they will have the same authority as the main owner. Okay, so it's very important that you get to understand this properly, because this will help you, give you the necessary foundational knowledge for you to be able to master usage of this very application that we call Sage 50. So do not worry, it's an interesting class, and of course I'm sure you're flowing with me as we ride on in this very class. All right, so let's go. So moving forward for the year in administration function, okay, you are able to sort your users by clicking on each of the column headings, and you can always select to sort them. Okay, you can see right here we have column headings. If you want to sort by first name, last name, you want to sort, you know what we mean to filter, sort ascending, sort descending. You want to sort by columns, if you want only the first name to be here, so you can always do that, which is very important for you to take note of. And then if you want to add a user, you can add your user. For example, want to add an accountant, you click on this add accountant, okay, and you'll be able to move up with that. Okay, so now that you know how to filter, okay, like I showed you just now, let's move forward to how you can add a user. So let's say we want to add a particular user, which could be that of our normal user. Okay, so to add the normal user, you will select this add user button. Okay, you will select this add user button, which is below here. I believe you can see this add user button. You're going to select it. Okay, so when you've selected that, you'll be able to add that user. If it's accountant you want to add for the company accountant, maybe it's a new accountant, you have to come over here and click on what, add an accountant, and you know, by the time you select this button, you'll be able to get to do that. So let's try that. So we are going to click on add an accountant, and you give it a minute. It's going to come up for you, so you'll be able to provide information like the first name, information like the last name of the accountant, the email, and yes, you can see it here. So it pops up this very required box where I have to put the name of this accountant. So we can say the name of this accountant is Henry. Okay, Henry Fayol. So the name of this accountant is Henry Fayol, but you know, following the right format, you use the first name as Henry, use the second name as Fayol. Then for the email address, you're going to provide his email address, which is very important here. You will say Henry Fayol at what? Henry Fayol, we can say Henry Fayol at gmail.com. Okay, Henry Fayol at gmail.com. So once you're done with that, you want to drop any comment. Dear Henry, please, you have been mandated to accept this invitation, you know, into our system, so on and so forth. You can also provide phone number. Here is active, it's there. You provide his phone number, his mobile number, and then you also specify, because you can specify which areas of accounting the user has access to under control user access. So is this your accountant? You say this is my accountant. Is normal user? You say this regular user, or this is our accountant. So we'll leave it there. So once you're done with this, you then scroll down. You can see we have notes. So on this very day, is there any information you want to maintain? Is there any notes? Maybe you want to drop a particular information from today. Henry is in charge of this. He will be held responsible, because definitely, you know, when we are talking about the accountant or the user, you know, you're adding responsibility accounting here is very important, because responsibility accounting, you know, works in line with the principle of controllability, which states that, you know, every let me say every user here must be held accountable, you know, for their accounts, okay, for their system accounts that they handles or they manages. So it's very important that information or a particular note, you know, is also being maintained. For it's very important for audit purposes. It will also be useful. So once you have done that, you can put in a message. You put the action date. I can use today as the date. Then I put here, I say accountant is to ensure the system is updated. The system data is updated, okay, or the system is updated at all times. Okay, now this will not be the subject, this will be the note. So I'm going to cut this, bring it under note and drop it there. Then for the subject, I can put it as system updates. Okay, system updates. So I can leave this. So if I want to add more notes, I can click on add, or I can do what, remove. Can add like the accountant should not disclose informations to unknown parties, just like that. So I can come under here and say please, or I can send that as a comment to him. Okay, please do not, please keep our company's informations confidential. Okay, because this is very important, because you know this contains a lot of informations which should not be revealed to unknown persons or disclosed. So any users that you create in one company will be available to be added to your other companies. So if for example I have other companies, as I create Henry, I can still decide to add him if he's an accountant also in that other company within our company or with that we also own. Okay, so you can always do that through a very dashboard we call the control user access screen. So it's with the control users access screen you can do that. So since I've added this user, I'm going to come down and say what I can say save a new to add a new one, or if I want to go back I can say what save. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to save this, and right here I have just added a new user into AOM Nigeria Limited. So that's a good one, and you can see right here our accountant is now on board. Our accountant is now on board, though if you move straight to where we have status, you will see it's showing you what? It's showing you pending activation. Now why is it showing pending activation? It's because Sage 50 has just sent an email address to an invitation mail to his mail, which is henryfayol@gmail.com. So he's expected to log into his mail and do what? Accept that. Then this will change over to active. So this is what it means. It will now become active. So this role, if you look at this role is what? Accountant. And like I said before, that you can always do what? I said that you are able to sort your users by clicking on each of the column heading. Okay, each of the column heading here. I may want to sort this, and I come here to this heading and I'll be able to say sort descending. That's if we have more than one, I can sort that. I can say sort by last name, sort by first name, so on and so forth. So this is just how to add your users here in Sage 50 when you're working in Sage 50. Then also we can go over to the administration. If you recall what I said that any users that you create in one company will be available to be added to your other companies. Okay, for example, we created Henry Fayol in AOM Limited. What if we have other companies we also handle here in Sage 50? It means that if Henry is also part of us there, we can also add him. Now, how do you add a user that is in one company, and also how will you be able to add him in another company? You have to use this another function that we call the control user access function in Sage. So how do you get in touch with that? You come to administration, scroll down, you see control user access. So all I have to do is to click on that option, control user access, and it's going to bring up this dashboard for me. So right here I am able to limit user access to different companies. Assuming I have list of companies, I'll be able to see all the companies here, and I can see that and users that have access to AOM Limited, there will be a widget, because all these boxes we call them widget. There will be a widget with those users. You can see Henry Fayol is here. So if there was another company called DDD Limited, in DDD Limited's own widget, you will see I can also do what? Add Henry Fayol over there. So all you have to do in such scenario in your company, if your company have 2 branches and Henry Fayol or an accountant is also the one in charge, all you have to do over there is just for you to select the company in the select you just have to select the company to do what? To manage, okay, to manage user access and permissions over there, and you'll be able to add those users so that they can have access in those companies, which is very important. So you can see the company section that I showed you, and you'll be able to add. And if you want to remove a user, this red minus sign is there for you. So this is the window I'm talking about, and this is the dashboard where you'll be able to do all what you want to do. So all you have to do is just to select the company to manage user access permissions, which is this, and you can see right here we have a company which have been selected. Okay, and you'll be able to select those companies and be able to add users to those companies. So it's also good to mention that some restrictions are automatically placed most times on users in Sage 50. As we have already said, that if you have created a company, you will be the owner in that company, and owners have access to more functions than users. Always remember that owners have access to more functions than users, but you can set specific permissions per user by clicking on the permission link, which I showed you here. Permission here. Okay, so I said that you can click on what? Permissions. You can click on permissions. I believe you can see permissions. So you can click on it so that you can set specific permissions for these users. If for example I want to set permission for Henry File, all I have to do is to click on permission close to Henry File. You can see permission. If I click on that, it's going to bring out the permission screen for me. Then I'll be able, what I'm expected to do now is that I have to set permissions per these menu options, because this is a menu, this is a screen, this is a dashboard. So this dashboard contains different options. It contains different options which I believe you can see these options here. Okay, so all you have to do is to set permissions per each of these options. If you want to set for accountant area, we have the accountant module. Okay, you can see it's ticked allowed, meaning that Henry have access to all modules. But if I want to restrict him, I have to come to each of these options. I click on this. Maybe I don't want him to have access to add to journal process reports. All I have to do is to come over here, okay, and untick. He will not be allowed. That's what it means, that Henry will not be allowed to do that. Okay, if I don't want him to have access to reports, send maybe trial balance export, which he should have access, I can also do what? Untick that. And by the time I save, it will not have that. So you can, what I did just now by clicking on it, because if you watch, if I minimize this, you can see accountant area has a lot of sub options under it. But what I did was that I expanded this very option by clicking on this plus sign. So here in Sage 50, you can expand. You have to expand the permissions. When you're trying to set permissions for users, all you have to do is to click on the plus to expand, and the minus each there to do what? To close it back. So you must expand to see the features or the options within customers that Henry have access to. You must do what? Expand. You see he has access to adjust customers opening balance. Do you want that? He has access to allocate receipts. Do you want that? He has access to customer adjustment, to edit and delete customer adjustment. And you know, this is important because they should not go and delete a particular important customer or client that is relevant to you. So you must ensure that you're able to follow up this properly. So once you're done, you have to scroll down. Okay, maybe we are talking about user tax management here, which we have our user tax management here, that you also have to click on it to expand to see the numerous tax he has access to. So you can see that Henry can create user tax, can delete user tax. You know, you may say, no, I don't want this. All you have to do, if you know it's all of them, you don't want him to have access to, maybe you don't want him to have access to a specific option there, all you have to do is to come and click on that select option, untick it. But if you know it's generally on the whole complete, you just clicked on the headline, which is user tax management, and to remove everything for you. So once I'm done with that, I can now come under and say what? Save. And I can decide to select all, or I say what? Save. So ladies and gentlemen, this is just how you can be able to do this. And when I click on save, I've been able to save that for Henry Fayol, who happens to be our very good accountant. So this is just how you'll be able to use the control user access here in Sage 50, or when you're working with Sage 50. Now, while you're doing this, there is something that is very important that you should have in mind, which is what? Security. Because above everything in life, security is also very important. And when it comes to data entry, when it comes to reporting, when it comes to the whole system structuring and development and everything, data security is important, it's vital. So for that reason, it's good to tell you that your security of your information, of your company information, is very important, because the accountant alone, cannot be able to say, because he's not disclosing information to outsiders might not have access or be able to view. But when your system or your information or your data is properly secured, there will not be harm. So what you need to do is that you need to ensure that unauthorized persons cannot access your data. I repeat, you need to ensure that unauthorized persons cannot access your data. And one of the way you can do this to make this a reality is that you do this by setting a password that you need to enter to open the company each day. So you will create your password when you first log into Sage 50. Okay, remember when we're starting. But if you have received an invitation to Sage, okay, the system will generate a password for you, okay, that will be made up of a string of random characters. Okay, so you may want to change your password at some stage, and this is done also in the administration function menu. Remember, we are looking at working with administration functions. For those of you working with administration functions, okay, so data security can be done here in Sage through that same module. So if I come there, you see where we have change password. So this is where you do it, this is where it is done. Okay, so when changing your password, you will need to enter the current password. You can see it's asking us what is the old password. By old password, they are talking about the current password that you're using at the moment. So you have to enter that password before you now have to enter the new password, and you confirm the new password again. Okay, and it's after confirmation you click and hit on change password, then your password will be resetted. So if you forgot your password in any way, maybe you forgot your password, because it's common, I also forget my password. So if you forgot your password, you have the option to reset your password on that very home first screen. Okay, all you have to do is to click on, you always see a little down option that says reset password, so you can always reset your password. And when you're resetting your password, it's not a difficult process for you to do that. It's not a difficult one. You can be able to reset your password, and resetting your password will just ask for little informations which are important, like your email address. So you will need to enter your email address, and also need to click on the reset password button, and you will then receive an email with a system generated password, same way you used to reset your password in your Facebook account or in your email account. So as soon as you log in with the new system generated password, the screen above will then display, and you need to enter a new password at that very point in time. So ladies and gentlemen, this is for data security, how you can be able to say, wow, I want to secure my data here in Sage. How will I be able to do this? How will I be able to carry out such tasks? So it's made simple here for you to understand how you can be able to go through this. So also you'll be able to manage your package subscription, and one way to do that is by coming to the administration tab, and you'll see we have my profile. So you come there, it's also another function. Okay, it's also another administration function you must understand. So in this very dashboard, you will manage your package subscription. Okay, here you can see, if you come down, you see current package, so you'll be able to manage it. You can pay for your license, can upgrade, pay by voucher. You can also refer to the help for file, to file for more information regarding the payment and upgrade processes. Okay, so once you're done with all this, you can then proceed to the last option, which is there. But before you do that, there is an option I want to talk about, which has to do with my details. So my details, you can see your company name that you entered initially. You can change your email address here, because from your primary email, so this email will not be the one sending messages to your client. And you can also change your password here, okay, under my details. And then we have the preference, which is here. So in the preference, the important part is this default dashboard to display. So you can come there to say, I want my financial dashboard to display, I want my supplier dashboard to display for me, I want the general, I want my workspace, which as often I say, the workspace has to do with your functions, what you do on daily basis in the company. If you want that, you have to set it up. I can say my financial dashboard. So ladies and gentlemen, once you're done with that, you will then be able to go and click on what logout, and that's all.